Welcome, everyone, back to Tuesday Night TerrorVision. I'm your host, Pete, right here with you, joined by, that's Mrs. Co-host, Trina from Real Horror. Welcome, Trina.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Looking forward to getting into this movie. And it's nice to have you back again, Blake.
What's up, guys? Far from Blake here. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you. And let me make sure and double check here that I did my due diligence. Yes, sir. Blake's YouTube channel and his Twitter are in the description to the video. So please, let's get him across. I want to see this young man cross 100 subscribers like soon.
I'm ready for 100. I'm ready to break it.
And I know this is cliche and it's stupid, but the first 100, it took me months to get there. Like months to get there. It was like you're sitting there and you're like, Jesus, is this gonna, and when it finally happens, you start to hit that little windfall and hit your stride. I haven't even watched the entire series yet, but I did watch your complete Cobra Kai video the other day.
Oh, you did? The ranking?
I watched the entire ranking video while I was
Awesome.
working in the kitchen.
Wow. Thank you. Appreciate that. Put
man.
A lot of work into that one. And I have a lot more with Cobra Kai. So anyone here that's a Cobra Kai fan, there's a lot of Cobra Kai stuff I want to start posting soon because I love Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I want to finish watching the series. I enjoyed the first 3 seasons. And having sat in on the Cobra Kai panel at Horror Hound and getting to listen to Martin Cove speak and everything a couple of years ago, 2 years ago now, it was great. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of the cast members on there. And it was a great cast, overall, just I'm always have been since I was a kid, and I shall remain so. Team Johnny for life, man. Johnny did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
that's why I had to bring it back and make a whole show about him.
He was the baby face the entire time, and that show started on YouTube. Is what I think a lot of people forget. Is that's where it started. Let's see. Let's welcome the chat. We got J-Man. And J-Man commented this on my Facebook post too. He said, I saw this opening night in the theater and love it.
Mm-hmm.
Hail, J-Man. Good to see you. J-Man was on with us. We reviewed Blood and Black Lace by Mario Bava, which I enjoyed. I'm loving the Giallo movies, and we've got many more of those planned with J-Man. Gap is here, one of my mods, another one of my mods. What up, Gap? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. He says, I've seen this movie twice. It's disjointed, and I'm confused about what it all means. There's a lot of subtext here. Godzillionaire, do you read Sutter Kane?
Nice.
Good to see you, Godzillionaire. Let's see, man. But let's see, what else do we have? Yeah. Speaking of In the Mouth of Madness, real quick before we get going on the review, I did do I watched this movie. It's not on Patreon yet, as I jumped the shark on my own. I buried the lead on my own story. This is this week's Patreon upload, and here's the Patreon right here. Patreon.com/wrestling with Hara. That's not the comment. Right here. That's it is.
The comment.
That's the comment right there. I clicked the wrong one. But $2 a month, you become a Brainbuster. And we're uploading In the Mouth of Madness. That's Wednesday. I do my uploads over there. And if we have a bonus upload for the week, it's usually like a match commentary, which Tony and I are going to record one, I believe, Wednesday. But Thursday night, we're going to be live here on the channel again, on location, Dragon's Den Production. Sorry, Trina, another quick wrestling plug. But I am live streaming the Micromania Midget Wrestling Show. That is, they're renting our ring in our building. And I'll be there for Micromania. We'll be live streaming it on the channel. So you can, if you can't be there in West Branch, Michigan, you can watch it here on the channel. I talked to the promoter. He's fine with it. So, yeah, we'll have some midget wrestling on the channel Wednesday night. Who knows? I might even get involved in the show in some way because I kind of got to know the guy. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys tune in. We'll have Micromania right here on Thursday night. So that'll be at 7. We'll start at 6:50. First match bell times at 7 p.m. So a little more wrestling action here on the channel of the micro variety. The little fellers and ladies.
Awesome.
And ladies, the little ladies too. They'll be out there doing their thing. So yeah, I went to one of these shows about 15 years ago, and they're a blast. Like these guys and gals, like I know we joke, but like they're freaking. It's not half the entertainment; it's the full entertainment. Like they're freaking great, man. So yeah, it's. I hope we have a good turnout in the house, and yeah, because we drew 250 our last show there that I worked. We had about 250 people there, so we had them packed in. We were almost a standing room. What up, Steeg?
Nice.
Good to see you.
Hey, Steeg.
Oh,
What's going on? TV
Young.
is a good one to do when you do TV shows. Nice. I'm like distracted. I'm like doing all these different things on the computer right now, trying to get it going.
All right. Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I'm just mumbling now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. All right. So before I play the title card here, In the Mouth of Madness released. See, it's weird. It says 1994 on most places, and then I know I messed up in the description. I changed it to 94, but on Rotten Tomatoes it says 95.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I saw both.
I see it right here. Okay, so it was released December 10th, 1994 in Italy and February 3rd, 95 in the US.
Okay.
So that's the discrepancy right there.
Okay, so 95 for us Americans.
Yeah, I listed the Italian release date just for you, Trina.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't say I'm not inclusive here. I'm
the DEI hire over here.
It's a me. It's a Trina.
I like the Art the Clown background you got going on right now, by the way.
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, we got Scooby. Yeah, Scooby in the gang with Art. Let's see. So yeah, we mentioned this movie had an $8 million budget and only made $8.9 million domestically. Only had a domestic release, which I'm kind of surprised this didn't get a worldwide release. But
what was it up against in the theaters when it came out?
I
think it was up against some heavy hitters.
Let's see. February. It was February 3rd.
Yeah. So
1995 movie releases.
So like maybe like a couple weeks before, a couple weeks after.
Let's see. So you had the Jerky Boys, The Secret of Ronan Einish. Wait, here we go. A domestic box office for February 95. Boys on the Side debuted at the same time. I don't know if the same audience going to see Boys on the Side was trying to decide whether they're going to see In the Mouth of Madness or that one. Because wasn't Bette Midler in that one?
I don't know. I have
no idea.
I don't even know what those are, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Okay.
Have you guys seen In the Mouth of Madness before this? Is this something you've seen a million times? Or
this was my first watch.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I assumed you guys both seen it, but then based off our DMs, it felt like you haven't seen this before. I was like, ooh, I'm going to wait to bring that up on here. I've never seen this before. Never.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever even heard of it, to be honest with you. But when I saw it was John Carpenter, I was like, oh, okay. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
oh yeah.
But once I saw that, I was like, I probably seen it when I looked to John Carpenter's filmography or whatever. But I actually haven't seen that many John Carpenter movies, even though diehard Halloween fan or whatever. So I'm glad I added this to it, so I could say I've seen more than just the basic couple that everyone has seen.
Well, and that's the thing too, because speaking of the thing.
Yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness and The Prince of Darkness are the Apocalypse trilogy, as it were, which they're not, by law a trilogy, but it's more or less implied just because of the events that transpire in them. And this is like the denouement of that, which I've seen The Thing. I've never seen Prince of Darkness either.
I've never seen that either. The only John Carpenter movies I've seen are Halloween, The Thing, The Fog, and now this. That's
okay.
It.
I've seen Prince of Darkness. Some people love it. I wanted to like it, and I tried to like it, and I just couldn't. It's got Donald Pleasance and it's got Alice Cooper in it.
Oh.
And I was
just
like,
to make it interesting.
Yeah, but the movie itself, I just couldn't. It couldn't bring me into it.
Yeah. Let me see what else it's
got. Escape from New York.
Yeah, that's been on my list for a while. I've always wanted to see They Live as well.
Oh, They Live is fantastic.
It is.
Oh,
The cover just draws me to it because the poster for it just looks so sick.
Dude,
Been on my list for years.
Roddy Piper's in it.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah.
And then Christine as well is one that.
Oh fuck, that movie.
So I haven't seen that either. Yeah.
I love that one. I really do. Like, it seems an odd concept. It's a haunted car, you know, but the execution is actually really good. Like,
I'm surprised I haven't seen that one. That one's been, I mean, all of them kind of been on my list, but Christine was like always one where I was trying to think of a movie to watch, and it was like it was between that and another movie, and for some reason I always pick something else and then keep shelving it. So yes, Gap, I am in my 20s, holding on still.
He's doing better than I am because my hair was gone by 22. So it started to go, and I'm just like, you know what? At this point, I just said, we were drunk. I said, let's get the razor and let's do this. Yeah. So, and I've been a watermelon.
I think actually, I remember you telling me that. I think.
Yeah.
You said that the first time we met.
Yep. That was me. I was like, one day I had a great civilization of hair, and then the next day it was the ancient ruins, and then nothing. I'm like, we're done.
And now you're a stud in a suit. So
you're right. You know, I got that Telly Savalas thing. All I need is my lollipop. Trina gets that one. Who loves you, baby?
See, I don't got the attire, so I got to keep the hair. So
it's a nice balance. It's a good balance. Yeah. But In the Mouth of Madness, sitting at right now on Rotten Tomatoes, a 59% critic, 74% audience. So lukewarm for the audience. Critics don't like it. It's a very abstract type movie. Carpenter's widespread releases, I would say, are either like they always have their audience. Am I right, Trina? They always have their audience, but the mainstream doesn't accept some of this. You know what I mean?
Oh, horror is always snubbed.
It is.
Oh yeah, and we see that constantly at the award shows and Oscars and all that.
That's why they're trying to do this elevated horror type stuff. Like, they want more movies like Hereditary and Midsummer and stuff like that. This elevated thing, aesthetically pleasing horror.
A24 or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you guys a fan of elevated horror or no?
Yeah, there's some like Hereditary. I love that movie. But yeah, I don't want it to become the new horror. Like, there is an absolute place for it, but not at the expense of traditional horror.
You need your slashers, you need your vampires, you need your creatures.
Yes.
You need your faceless killers. They can coexist.
Yes,
they can
absolutely.
coexist. I'm fine. Like, In a Violent Nature, I'm sorry, Trina. In a Violent Nature was kind of elevated.
Yeah, they were stealing ideas from Friday the 13th and Jason, but trying to elevate it. And I don't know what you thought about that movie, but I thought it was kind of a snooze fest. I thought it was a little too slow. I was hyped for it. There was ideas in it that were great, but it became so repetitive as the movie went along. Some pretty gnarly kills though. There was one kill in there that was absolutely nuts, and I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, best one in the movie.
Best
one in the movie by far.
But now I'm not the biggest elevated horror fan. I definitely, like you said, I'm a slasher guy first and foremost. But I like the vampires, I like the creature features and stuff like that, and maybe more of the thriller type aspects, like the movie we just watched as well. But I mean, if an elevated horror movie, if it's just that good and it's a good story or whatever, then it works. But overall, I like my cheesy B-movie slashers like Friday the 13th or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. I'm more or less I can. Okay. What was the one that Nick from WCBS warned me about, and I still watched it anyway? Mother.
Oh yeah.
Darren Aronofsky gets high off his own farts, like that South Park episode. I swear to God. And I love the movie The Wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but Mother was god awful. In a Violent Nature. I can't remember how we scored that, Trina. I don't think it was too high.
No, In a Violent Nature, the what ruined that is there was no score.
Yeah.
And the face reveal, there was no need for that. And hey, Dragon Buddy and
Hey, Dragon Buddy.
Cotton and everybody.
What's up, guys? Dragon Buddy. That's a sick name.
We got to get them back on.
Yeah, he's cool. He's one half of Grave Reviews. They have a YouTube channel. They're awesome.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave Inviolate Nature 2.5, it says. So
I
thought it was okay.
I think that's about where
Yeah.
we were at with it. Was that middle of the road kind of. It did some things good, but the bad kind of outweighed the good. The lack of a score. The ending to the movie was so pretentious. Like for a slasher movie, I was just like,
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on even what happened, but I remember just being pretty over the movie by the end of it.
Yeah, it was like, okay, let's wrap that shit
And
up.
I thought I was gonna love it. Yeah, I was like, exactly, wrap it up. Like as it was going along, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, and then it just.
Because there was that one kill on the cliff side that was like, that movie could have been amazing. It really should have been.
Yeah, if you add a score, take the face reveal out, and cut down the scenes where he's just walking around a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, that was the killer. It was just too much walking with nothing happening.
Yeah,
like there was like a stretch at one point where it was just 10 minutes of walking.
Yes.
It's like and it was like the middle of the movie too. I mean, he did it in the beginning as well, but then middle of the movie, we've already seen somewhat stuff happen, and now we're just walking again. And like, it was cool. The idea of it was cool, right? Like
conceptually.
Going from the POV of the killer and hearing the nature sounds and blah blah, but. I would like to see the same concept. This was the one thing I'll praise it. The concept was great, but it wasn't executed right. If you get the right director to kind of steal the same concept but do it 10 times better, I do think the concept is a good idea. It just, I don't know. It was boring. I got sick of the walking after a while.
You're welcome, brother. You're absolutely welcome. There's the Grave Reviews channel link right there. You can click on that, go over, subscribe to Chris and Alan, give them some love. We got to have them back on soon. But yeah, A24, speaking of which, before we get into the review, Linda Cardellini is our new Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, I saw that.
We have Jesus Christ, we have a hot Mrs. Voorhees. Holy shit.
Now you're gonna see why Jason was in love with his mom. He's like, "Mommy,"
the Oedipus complex developed somewhere, and apparently it started with Linda fucking Cardellini. From Grandma's Boy to Camp Crystal Lake. This is good news. I was just like searching for any updates I could find on this the other day. And I did a video on this a little bit ago, and I'm like, oh, I guess I know what I'm doing tomorrow now. So I'm doing a video on the casting for this. I've got 2 videos planned for tomorrow and like 18 clips from the show last night. But yeah, this is good news because the show was supposed to be out last year. Then it was this October. Now it'll probably be next year. I believe they're filming in Australia. Australia.
It feels like the ball's actually rolling now that we actually know a casting and it's a big name, like you said. And it's that part of it seems to be 100% confirmed. So it's good. You know, finally getting some sort of news in the direction of Friday the 13th, even though we don't know what the story will be, if Jason's can even legally be involved or not. But I'm glad we're doing something so far.
The people running this show, you've got Victor Miller, you got Brad Caleb Kane as the showrunner. Victor Miller, the original screenwriter, he won the lawsuit. So you've got him, Mark, and David Toberoff, who are his rights attorneys. And there's like 2 more people involved overall that are like, they have the rights now. And per the resolution to the lawsuit with Sean Cunningham, they can't do a movie, but they can use anything under the Friday the 13th umbrella under the sun in a television series.
So they can have Jason
Yes.
in a series.
They can have Jason. They can have him like Brian Fuller said before, the showrunner that was that left because of creative differences. We all know it was the sexual harassment lawsuit, which nothing ever has been mentioned about that as far as resolution to that goes. It was him versus Sam Weineman, stemming from the allegations of misconduct on the set of the AMC series Queer for Fear back in like 2021 or 2. So the allegations went back quite a ways. But Fuller left, and Fuller had said before he left, we can do anything. If I go 10 seasons, I'll send Jason to outer space if I can. He goes, because we can use anything we want.
Really?
So,
See, I didn't hear any of this. And
Yes.
I've been meaning to watch some YouTube videos on some stuff when the Linda casting was made.
Yep.
But I haven't done that. I didn't realize that
Yeah.
they have full authority to do whatever they want in a TV setting.
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
that's good to hear. At this point, like as much as I've really wanted a movie, and I still do, but I mean, if you can get everything you need in a TV series, maybe they just completely go for it, right? And you said you could almost break it down like in a remake fashion, or you can just do something new. It doesn't matter. But like you said, if you do 10 seasons, go to space, you could almost recreate all the movies again per season. Almost season 1's like the first movie, season 2's like the second, and you could do something like that, and then you can take them to space by season 10.
That was the original plan.
Yeah.
The way the series is structured with the deal they got, A24 got with Peacock, was guaranteed 2 seasons, option for 4, and there's a penalty if they don't do at least 2. Brian Fuller had it set to where he was gonna he had 4 seasons planned, and he was gonna redo the first 4 movies with each of them having a dedicated season to it, which I'm like,
I like that.
I was like, oh, dude, when he said that.
Yeah.
And actually, his Pamela Voorhees was never confirmed,
Yeah.
but rumored to have been Charlize Theron, which I was like, another one, like, Jesus Christ, the hotness of Voorhees. Like, what are they doing? Like, stop it. Stop it. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing with this cast.
There's trying to steal the ideas when they tried to have a hot Mary, not whatchamacallit, hot Aunt May in the new Spider movies.
Yeah.
Oh, people seem to like that. So I was like, that'll get butts and seats.
Right? That's exactly it.
I hope you're right. I hope that's what they go with, because that would make things exciting. Like I said, if it seems like we're never going to get a movie anytime soon, this is a very creative way to bring things back, and you could do a lot in a TV series to maybe really enrich the story or whatever, this and that, and prolong it. And for us real diehard Friday 13 fans, we'll love all the Easter eggs and stuff that they could put in a whole season dedicated to, you know, part 4 or part 2, like this and that. Imagine like a whole season of, I love part 2 and part 4 the most out of this first 4. Just like diving into like a entire season that's similar to the final chapter, but the possibilities could be really great. Obviously, they have to do it well, they have to cast well, and etc. But like you said, the Pamela Voorhees casting's pretty good. So
so
sounds like they're taking it serious.
We know we're going to get like more of Pamela's backstory now. Like season 1 is going to be kind of, and I'm all right with that. Like, I'm
cool with that.
I'm
in a series, I'm all for that.
Yep.
It's usually in a movie. I don't think I would want to see that again. But in a series, I think that's cool.
Yep. Are you saying hot women sell tickets, you bigot? Yes. Hang on. As Trina knows, I'll borrow from our good friend Chris Fisk, author of Infinitale Chronicles. That's right. I have my manga copy right here. Captain Misogyny. There we go. There's a shout out to Chris. Does anyone go see Final Destination Bloodlines? No. I haven't watched the Final Destination movie since like the third one. I was done after that. I
really haven't even seen that. I might have seen parts of the first one, or maybe I saw the first one when I was a kid when it came out, but those are movies I have to, I guess, give a shot as an adult, but I don't really care. I guess I'll watch them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm indifferent towards them. I was like, they were cool at the time, you know, when they came out, because I was like in my early 20s. I'm like, all right, these are all right. And now they're kind of like, I Know What You Did Last Summer to me. I'm just like, I saw it in the theater when it came out. I enjoyed it then. Do I really want to go back and revisit it? No. But
you might have to revisit I Know What You Did Last Summer, though, because they're coming out with a sequel this summer to it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
they're bringing it back. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel. I like you. I'm not that crazy about those movies.
No.
But I probably will rewatch them just because of the new movie
Yeah.
coming out in the summer. Maybe the new one will be better.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But maybe. There's always so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a
All right.
chance.
There's a chance. All right. So let's talk In the Mouth of Madness.
I know this book will drive people crazy. Let's hope so. The movie comes out next month.
So the concept of a book that drives people literally to insane acts of violence and mayhem. I liked it. I was cool with it. You know, I didn't really know what the movie was about going in. As I said, when I watched it the other night, recorded the commentary for Patreon, that was the first time I've seen this. And I was telling Trina earlier, we were backstage. I love Sam Neill. Absolutely. Guy is fantastic. And Trina said it right. You said he's not a typecast actor. He's very versatile.
Yeah.
I do. I really liked his performance in this. And I thought for me, he made like the slow burn aspect of the first act of the movie. He made that like, I don't want to say tolerable because I don't want to sound like I didn't enjoy it, but he made it seem like it wasn't it kind of, like I said, it was a slow burn, but he made it more palatable, shall we say. I'll put it that way, you know, because like, I don't know, with a John Carpenter movie, it's like, I even with Halloween, it's like, do you really have to wait for that slow burn, or, you know, when?
Yeah. The movie is paced differently from other movies, and that's just kind of seems to be John Carpenter's style overall. But yeah, it definitely comes through in this movie. And yeah, like me personally, I love this movie. I've seen it multiple times. I love the premise of the movie, and there's a lot of elements. So basically, like the synopsis of this movie is Sam Neill, his character is John Trent, and he's an insurance adjuster, and he's hired to track down a missing horror novelist, Sutter Kane. And this guy, Sutter Kane, they even say in this movie that his books sell even more popular than Stephen King. And it's funny because Carpenter had Stephen King in mind when he wrote this movie, and Hobbs End, where they find Sutter Kane, well, where a lot of this movie takes place, is based on Stephen King's Castle Rock, which was also a series and is in his books. And okay, so another cool thing about this movie as well is the theme about how Sutter Kane's books drive people to do violent and like just horrible things, and they just drive you insane. And Stephen King actually took a lot of flack for that as well. In the early 90s, I believe it was early 90s, there was a school shooting after one of his books, and the media tried to tie it to basically blame Stephen King for the school shooting, and you see a lot of that theme in this movie. And I really like how they worked that into it without being heavy-handed about it.
Yeah, so I didn't even know any of those back stories behind that. I saw all the pickups on the Stephen King stuff, like comparisons and this and that, and I figured it had to be some sort of homage or something to that, but not knowing that he actually went through something not similar, but you know, kind of they're playing off that. That's pretty crazy. And interesting way to draw inspiration from for a
Mhm.
story concept.
Yeah, John Carpenter and Stephen King are buddies, and so I'm not really surprised that he worked this into a movie, about him, about this, basing it on Stephen King. And as far as those books go, that shooting thing, Stephen King actually ended up regretting that book because of everything that happened, and he had it taken out of print.
Oh wow!
But I can't remember the name of the book that it was.
I was gonna say I don't even remember that.
Was
that the 80s?
I think it was the 90s, but it could have been 80s.
I like I said, I don't even remember that, honestly.
Yeah.
I would think I have a stupid memory for stuff like that too. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it could have been 80s. I feel like it was 90s, but now I'm not sure.
Sutter Kane might have erased it from our minds. Why we don't?
Damn it! He's like, look at the book. Speaking of Sam Neill's character, John Trent, Trina, as soon as I heard them say his name was John Trent, I'm like, it's the Bounding Into Comics guy?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Rage.
Dragon Buddy says it was called Rage. All right, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it.
No.
Yeah, when did that come out? Was that in the 80s or 90s? I thought it was 90s. But yeah, that's what John Carpenter was working into this story about how, media, like the books and everything, were driving people to madness and everything. And
yeah, that's crazy. So like that was like actually a thing.
Yeah. Well, they've, the media has always been kind of blaming like video games, music,
video games and movies and this and that.
comic.
The satanic,
77. Okay.
77. Okay. So yeah, you had the satanic panic in the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons and Metallica.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper was, Ozzy Osbourne, Satan. It is the puritanical nonsense.
Yeah.
Rearing its ugly head. And, it's just, they used it as an example for a couple shootings. Well, yeah, it's Metallica again with the Columbine, Klebold and Harris. They were big Metallica fans, right? So of course, oh my God, it's Metallica that's causing this. Yeah, society hated horror, metal, and D&D. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, oh shit. So I'm like, I'm sitting here going like, am I evil? But no, man, it's
nice Metallica reference there.
Yeah, you like that? See what I did? See what I did there? Yeah. The brain works right sometimes. The synapses will fire, and I feel like John Madden. I'm drawing it out. Let me draw it. Let me do the illustrator. I'm drawing it. He went over here, and back over here, did a belly option, and Brett Favre came, and he sent a dick pic to that Jensen, and boom, tough acting to acting. Ace is a place for me. But no, so this movie starts right. I just go right back into it like it never happened.
Yeah, that transition was hilarious. But back what I was saying.
Yeah, see, right back to John Madden.
All right, time to get serious.
Yeah, but seriously, folks, probably breaking a wrestling diatribe for 45 minutes, and Trina's going to start. Nope, there's an angry wall of text. Never mind. Okay, I'm back on track.
Cena, never mind.
Yeah. From West Newbury, Massachusetts.
That's right.
But no, the beginning of this, you have I love the sequence of all the printing, and I do. It's a nice, and the music, the score at the beginning of the movie.
The intro.
Yes,
I was hyped when I started playing. I was like, oh, they're about to put me on a banner right now.
Right.
I was like, this was like, and that's why I said this movie felt like it was like an '80s movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep double checking. That's why when you told me when you put 87, I was like, wait, is this an '80s movie or whatever? Because I said 94. It felt like how most of the 80s horror
Mhm.
movies felt like. And
Mhm.
that was a very like Dream Warriors-esque like intro with the rock
Mm.
music or whatever, and this and that. I was like, I don't know, just the whole vibe, the tone, and you know, just the acting chops. It felt 80s to me, which I love 80s. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool. But it was weird. I was like, because I was trying to compare it to other 90s movies. I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel like a lot of 90s movies to me.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
you had, I picked up a lot of similarities between this and John Carpenter's Vampires is one of my favorite Carpenter movies. I know it's not like a lot of people's favorite, but that's like one of my favorite vampire movies too. Like I love that freaking movie.
I love vampires, so maybe I'll have to check that one out. I love the concept of vampires or whatever, so I haven't seen that one.
James Woods plays like a badass vampire hunter, and it's like, which Baldwin is it? That's his sidekick. Is it Daniel Baldwin's his sidekick? You've got like, it's a kick-ass movie. It really is. In the score, what I was getting to, like the main title track for John Carpenter's Vampires reminded me a lot of this. Like when I heard this, it's more because it's more rock heavy.
Yeah.
And that's the way, because that one came out in 98, which was like my senior year in high school. And I remember seeing that in the theater, and I took my girlfriend at the time, and she was not a horror fan. And I was just like, this is fucking awesome. And she's just like,
She's like, what is this?
Yeah. Especially if you've never seen it, all I will say is the hotel scene at the beginning of the movie is that shit's rad. Like it was.
Yeah, I need to stop messing around. I gotta add couple more Carpenter movies to my repertoire.
And yeah, his last one was Ghosts of Mars, which I don't think I've seen that since it came out. That had Natasha Henstridge, Ice Cube, and I can't remember who else. But I know I enjoyed it. I just
Ice Cube was in a John Carpenter movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't seen that in ages.
No. I haven't seen it since it came out, and that was like 03 or 04. I think that one came out, because that's like his last movie.
Yeah. I feel like it was a very long time ago.
Yeah, it didn't do well. I know that.
Oh yeah, I see the cover.
Yeah, the concept was cool. It just didn't translate. I don't think. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'll have to watch it again though, because like I said, it's been 20 plus years since I've seen it. I'll check it out though. That's another one we'll have to watch, because I want to do Prince of Darkness and The Thing too. We have to do the entire Apocalypse trilogy now. We'll have Blake will book him for those. You can do the Apocalypse trilogy with us.
Sounds good.
That'll be yeah. But all right, so we're introduced to John Trent, and he's being thrown into the asylum like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Which he fucking kicks the guy in the dick, like
sets the tone early.
Yeah, just gets a one-way ticket to Dick Kick City, one of the orderlies. And I love how he's apologizing about it later. I'm sorry, it was a lucky shot.
Yeah.
The guy that plays Saperstein at the front desk was in Scrooged. John
Glover.
John Glover. He always plays such a good swarmy, and he only has a bit part in this, really.
Yeah. His part's small. He's awesome. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. He was in Fear the Walking Dead, too. He played a cult leader.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stick with that series. I saw maybe like a few or maybe 2 seasons.
I was there until like season 8, and
wow.
8 or a little bit into 8, and I finally quit. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And even with the Walking Dead, the wife and kid are like almost done. There's like 4 episodes left, and I'm like SpongeBob. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah.
I don't like the way the comic ended. I've read the entire comic like twice. I own like all the compendiums except the very last one. I haven't got it yet because I get one a year for like for my birthday, and I didn't like the way they ended the comic. I didn't like the way they ended the show. And I was just upset overall with the direction, especially when like Angela Kang took over as showrunner, because tonally the entire show just shifted. Mm-hmm. And all right, I'm not talking about it anymore. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get my John Madden telestrator out my forehead again and drop all the ways The Walking Dead fucked me with no Vaseline. just imagine a little bit of gasoline. There's another Ice Cube reference. That's a callback. But no, so we get Sam Neill, John Trent bounding into comics. They're like, no, dude, you're in the cell. We can't have you writing articles about Snow White and shit. I don't know. He's not even bounding into comics anymore. But so he's in the padded room, and I did hit a vein. And you know, he gets the shadow, like the shadow comes in, which we find out later is Kane. And that kind of sets, what was the doctor's name that came and got him out of the cell? Because that guy wasn't that guy in fucking Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like the original with Gene Wilder?
His name was David Warner, and he played Dr. Wren.
Yeah, David Warner. That guy's been in a bunch of shit too.
He was in Scream 2.
Okay.
He was like one of the professors in the movie.
And Vigo the Carpathian is in this too. The Scourge of Moldavia. Yep. He was one of the townspeople in Hobbs End. He's the one that started that 12 gauge. Why did you do that? I had to. That was probably one of my favorite scenes. I fucking laughed. I did. I was like, because I just could see it happen. And the guy's sitting there, he's bleeding. He's like, why?
Are you talking about the guy in the pub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Vigo from Ghostbusters 2. I was like,
no, wait a minute. No, wait. What was his character? What was his character's name?
hang on.
Was it?
He was the one that he went to the church looking for his son.
Yeah.
And when
was
they got
it Simon?
Let me look. I'm looking at the cast right now. Where's Vigo? Where is Vigo? There's no mistaking that guy because he's one of the ugliest human beings I've ever seen. Like, and I say that with all due respect because he's just got that face. Is he even listed? Okay, not on Google. I'm gonna go to fucking IMDb. You're fucking me, Google. All right. Okay. YouTube's demonetized me. We're fine. We're all fine here. Let's see. Not Jurgen Prochnow. That's Sutter Kane. Go away, you stupid ad. Oh yeah, the Frances Bay was in this too. She was the little innkeeper, grandma from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. She's been in other stuff. She's a great.
Oh yeah, I peeped that while I was watching the movie. I was like, wait, that's Happy Gilmore right there.
Yep. I was like, that's grandma.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dragon Buddy said Simon. Okay, Simon was played by someone named William von Homburg.
Yep. And he was in Die Hard. And he was Vigo, right on his IMDb. The first picture or second picture is Vigo. Wait, was he a wrestler or did he play a wrestler in a movie? Yeah, he was in Die Hard. He was in Ghostbusters 2. Silence of the Hams.
Yeah. Dragon Buddy is saying yes. That's Vigo the Carpathian.
Vigo the Carpathian. You gotta say it like the little guy. I can't remember the little. Yeah, Vigo the Cruel. Vigo the Conqueror. He sits on a throne of skulls. They're surrounded in a river of blood. Pay homage to Vigo. I don't know. I'm just making shit up at this point.
Keep going.
Don't encourage me. So Vigo's in this movie too, and unfortunately, his powers were not enough to stop Dobermans.
Damn.
Which that scene just tripped me out. I'm like, you have shotguns.
I know.
They're dogs.
I know.
I'm like, shoot them now.
I know, but if they did,
when
we
all the
would be
dogs
like,
were
"How could you shoot? You can't shoot dogs."
So I was thinking that too when all the I was like, you guys have guns, but then the logic I tried to, maybe there is no good logic to it, but I was like, well, there is a lot of dogs, so maybe they thought like if I shoot one or two, it's not going to be enough because there's like 30 coming at them. So they were like, oh, we just have to run. So that was what I thought at first, because at first I was like, why are they running? There's dogs. But
right.
There was a lot, I guess. So unless they're like, I was like,
yeah, the rail gun.
Yeah, they just a 50 cal. Just how do you shoot so many Dobermans? The trick is you don't lead him as much. Little Full Metal Jacket reference there. That's a Stanley Kubrick film. That's a fantastic fucking movie. My father's a Marine and a Vietnam vet, so I was forced to watch that at age 7. He said the boot camp sequences, he says, this is as real as you're going to get. This is the closest I can presented. Yeah, Anyway, but no, just you don't lead the Dobermans with the 50 cal as much. They're not greyhounds. Greyhounds, you got to lead a little more because they're quicker. They'll get there. They'll enter the point. Never mind. I'm just kidding, YouTube. Jesus, I'm kidding. Settle down. Settle down. It's all right. You'll hear from my attorneys. Oh boy. So John Trent he meets with Charlton fucking Heston. Ben-Hur is in this movie. I was impressed with that. I was like, oh shit, Charlton Heston?
I have to keep looking everyone up because I keep forgetting everyone, to be honest with you.
Trina's like, he's impressed by Charlton Heston. Oh yeah, have you seen a Kirk Douglas movie?
Okay, so all right, so I like the scene where he's in that padded cell, because we see the guy behind him.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is a rotten way to end it. And Sam Neill's character goes, this isn't the end. You haven't read it yet. And then we see flashes of parts of the movie that we haven't seen yet. I love that. And then he gets a visit by Dr. Wren. And then we see these the crosses all over his cell and all over his scrubs and everything. And on his face.
What was like his motive behind it? Was that just the show that he's like, oh, I'm still crazy, you can't let me free? Because wasn't the guy who was interviewing him there he was trying to get him out, right?
Yeah.
Not like just his whole concept. Was that the main purpose, or was there like more to the story of like Sutter Kane's in the madness part of it, like his book that was like code for anything? What was your interpretation of that?
Yeah, he won. So he was going to be like, well, not at this point, but yeah, he was, well, I think the crosses and everything were trying to ward off evil at that point. But later on when we see him in the cell and he's like gonna be like let out, and he doesn't want to get let out. He's like, it's safer in here.
Yeah, because he was he knew what was unfolding outside.
Everything. Because everybody had read the movie was already out, the book was out, everybody had gone crazy by then, and the craziness had taken over the asylum where he was staying, and so he was more safe in his cell.
I will say this was a movie, like, I liked it, but like kind of like how you were saying Pete Daddy Dollar, that it felt kind of slow in the beginning. I was trying to get used to the story, and then as it went along, and it unpacked more. I was like, I thought it was just a unique story, and it felt like a movie to where, like, I tried to throw it on last night before I went to bed, just like in the background, because I actually had to rent this movie in order to watch it. So it's like 48 hours. I was like, oh, well, this is the last couple hours I have to watch it. So I was like, let me just throw it on again while I go to bed, kind of. And I felt like a movie if it was free 24/7 for me, where I feel like it feels very rewatchable, even though the first time I was like kind of like trying to figure it out. But it feels like a movie that will grow on me more and more. So like even in the back, just having it on in the background, I was like, oh wait, there's elements of this movie. Like I said, maybe it's just because it felt 80s-esque. It felt like a movie where I could just throw on in the background and I would appreciate it more and more. That will grow on me. And like I said, I did like the movie, but I feel like if I had more chances to rewatch it in the future, I feel like I could love it down the line. And
you'll catch more that you didn't catch the first time.
Yeah, and that it feels like one of those movies where I feel like there's something you could always unpack or rediscover in the future. So it's like I said, I like it. We'll get into the scores obviously later in the thing, but I feel like there's potential to where give me a few more rewatches and it could be one where I'm like, oh yeah, you got to check this one out, blah, blah.
Yeah. It gets to your recommended list.
Yeah.
I think, the imagery with all the crosses was like, I was like, at first I'm like, okay, why all the crosses?
Yeah.
Like what, and then, you kind of, you piece it together, and well, they show glimpses of it when he's in the cell because they have that flash sequence where he shows them all the different images. And you see like the church and the cross and stuff like that. So it's like, did it come from like inspiration from that?
So yeah, an important thing for, well, we all know because we've seen it, but important thing for anybody who's gonna check this movie out to know about this movie is that things aren't exactly linear. This is a very Lovecraft. There's a lot actually.
It's inspired.
There's a lot of Lovecraft elements in it. There's even direct quotes from Lovecraft stories in it. So this is kind of a it kind of goes through time in a non-linear way, and things get unfolded differently, but it's not hard. It's not like as long as you're just paying attention, you'll get it. Everything gets revealed.
Yeah.
And I actually love that. I feel like it's clever, but it's not in a pretentious way.
Yeah. I personally haven't read any Lovecraft. Like everything I've learned about him has been through like, other videos and things, like video essays on his works and things of the like the concept of his work I'm familiar with, the ancient beasts and stuff like that. Which I really liked all the imagery in this, and their use was pretty gnarly, especially with Sutter Kane when we come to him. I mean, I didn't expect that, and then of course my brain immediately goes to that movie. Oh Jesus, what was that called? I hated it. Where the girl had the thing growing out of the back of her head that was triggered because her husband her boyfriend bounced her head off the wall.
Malignant.
Yeah, that's what it was. Malignant. I was like, yeah. I'm like, that guy. I was like, oh shit, it's one of them gimmicks. But no, it looked cool in practical effects.
Yeah.
Practical effects, and I think that's why this movie ages well in that respect.
It's why pretty much all these old horror movies age well, to where a lot of newer horror movies won't, right? Or just movies in general. Something we always go back to. Where I don't know. I like you said, I thought it was really unique. I thought a lot of the effects were really cool, and that's where, like I said, I think the rewatchability of this is really high because I think there's a lot of cool imagery we could pick up on. I like I said, this movie was kind of trippy too, where it's like you don't really know what's going on when it comes to like, they're driving on the road and there's the kid riding the bike, and then he turns old and then he's new, and the girl he's driving with, I forget what was the girl's name he was with through the whole road trip.
Linda Stiles.
Linda. Yeah, so she whatchamacallit, like she's tripping out while she's driving. He's just sleeping and she's waking up and she's going crazy and seeing all these different things. And it's funny because he's like dismissing it throughout the movie, even though he had his crazy moments when he was back in earlier in the movie, right? When he's in his apartment and he was reading the books and he had those dreams over and over with the cop and this and that. And that was actually a jump scare that's somewhat, not like maybe jump, but like a slight little startle when he was in the dream sequence, and then that creature thing was right next to him, because that was a very unexpected jump scare, because it just felt like he was sleeping. I was saying, oh, now he woke up, and then it's right there again, and then I was like, oh, that was good, John Carpenter. I was like, not bad.
That was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah,
was that little jump scare where the cop is like, you want some of this too, buddy? And then, next thing you know, he's on the couch next to him.
Yeah. And then he ends up being awake again. And that was just, that's just classic John Carpenter. And he adds, like, the real loud, obnoxious noise to it, to where, it gets you a little bit. Because I was not expecting anything to be. I was thinking he already had his weird nightmare and he woke up. And it's just like a little thing that, I don't know, those old horror movies do so well at, especially John Carpenter doing it. But yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Trina.
Oh, no. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to go back to the Charlton Heston thing. I'm like, I wonder what went into like casting Charlton Heston in particular in the role, of because he was the head of the publishing company that was publishing Kane's book, right? That was his role, I believe.
Let me see.
Because he's the one that hires John Trent to go look for Kane, and Trent is initially resistant, because he's an insurance investigator, fraud, and he believes this is all like a work. He thinks they're putting this all on.
That was his big
publicity.
thing that he kept saying.
Yep.
He thinks that this is just for the he thinks it's a scam and everything like that.
I feel like also though, even though I think in the beginning he thought it was a scam, but after a while I felt like it was more of just like how pretty much anybody might would in like real life, where they're just in denial of the craziness that they're seeing, so they have to believe that it is a setup or a scam, because the truth of this being a reality is just too crazy. Because even when they get back him and Linda into that hotel or house, wherever they stay in, right? And she tells the church, the black church, that would be the black church walls, whatever, and he goes out, opens the windows, see, it's not there. She's like, no, you have to look at the other window, and he looks at it and goes, no, you set this up, blah blah blah. And it's like he was just, because you see his initial reaction was like, and then he's like, nope, I have to deny this no matter what, no matter all the paintings and all the weird things that were happening. He just couldn't believe it.
That was another thing. The painting in the lobby kept changing, and then all of a sudden the couple, their faces are like mangled. And like you see the demons or the people that are possessed, their faces take on that shriveled prune look. And but how they got to Hobbs End was cool. The covered bridge. It was like a portal. It was like a portal.
Yes, it was, because nobody could. They tried to find Hobbs End, and they're like, no, I never heard of that place. There's no such place exists. And then they were like, well, maybe not now, but maybe it existed a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's called something else now. And and then they're on their road. They're on the road to get there, and a lot of cool things happen while they're out driving. She Linda, the girl that goes with him from the publishing company, she sees that kid on a bike. It's an old man at first, I think she sees.
She sees him as a kid. It's a kid first.
Okay.
And then he looks like
body.
Yeah, and then he looks like Doc Brown from fucking Back to the Future. I'm like, it's Christopher Lloyd.
And
that was whole thing was just trippy, because it was like you're sitting there, you're watching, you're like, okay, what's real, what's not, like in the sense, because like we know it's like the concept of like, oh, this is a fake world that actually is real, and it's the stories come into life in the Mouth of Madness, and the lines are blurred, but it's like, which part of it is real? Is the kid actually a real thing? Is he fake altogether? Is the old person actually real and the kid part was fake? You know what I mean? Those are the questions you could ask yourself while watching the movie, or at least that's what the characters are thinking in their mind as well. And that's just a fun concept when a movie makes you go, it could be this way, it could be that way. And there's just so many different possibilities.
I love that. And and then when they're going over that bridge, and all like she like you look out, and it's like it looks like a portal, and then it goes from nighttime, and then they go through this portal, and then it's daytime on the other side of the bridge.
And then he just wakes up and goes, "Oh wow, you made it! Good job!" Just the classic, whatever. And she looks at them all pissed, and she's like, "You drive." I was like, "All right, what's the big deal? I'll do it." I was like,
I love that.
But yeah, it's funny you point out, and then Happy Gilmore's grandma ends up being the thing, and I was looking at her and made me like think, I was like, oh yeah, that's Happy Gilmore's grandma, and I looked up. It's funny we brought up Cobra Kai. I didn't realize she was in the Karate Kid as well. I didn't realize that was the same person. In the beginning of the Karate Kid, do you remember where Daniel LaRusso finally moves like to Cali in that apartment. Remember that old lady that was sitting out front, and he said, "Oh, you have a cute dog. Let me get some water." That was her. That's the same. Isn't that crazy?
Jesus Christ.
I never realized that. I've seen Karate Kid is my favorite movie of all time. Obviously seen Happy Gilmore. I realized while watching this movie, I was like, oh, that's Happy Gilmore's grandma. I'm like, that's crazy. And I looked up, her on Letterboxd, and I was looking at her thing. It said Karate Kid. I'm like, wait a minute, Karate Kid, what she could have been in? And then it was like, oh my gosh, that's her, the freaking beginning of the movie.
Like, I don't remember her from the All Valley tournament.
Yeah, she wasn't competing against Cobra Kai.
She was in the Masters class.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah, fun fact.
That's crazy. She was in Karate Kid though.
Yeah.
She's
kind of an OG. She's in a John Carpenter flick. She's in an Adam Sandler flick and the Karate Kid.
Jesus.
Yeah.
She's had a career.
Yeah, right.
She's had a career.
And this was probably her craziest role.
And
I was like,
speaking of that, when you find out she's evil and she's got her like husband freaking handcuffed to her ankle, she's like kicking him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you hear him
that's
going.
Not what I was expecting either. Like I knew because they said like, oh, Linda was saying to John like, oh yeah, she's supposed to kill her husband or whatever. He's like, that sweet old lady, you think she ain't gonna do nothing, blah blah. And then so I thought like when that was happening, like he was talking to her, oh, you don't see him the same. I'm like, oh, she probably killed him now, or we're gonna see a dead body. So I was thinking something like that. And then when I saw him, like you said, naked and lying, handcuffed to her ankle, I'm like, oh, that's more twisted than what I thought they were gonna do. And I was like, and also kind of comical at the same time. I was like, because he's also run out there, she's kicking him. He's like, shut up. I was like,
right. That's, if I had a nickel for every time I got handcuffed and kicked, but that's another story altogether. That's Patreon. That's Patreon talk right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's slowly like, what do you say? It looks like you haven't slept in days, she's like losing her mind.
Like cleaning must be hard, huh?
Yeah.
Cleaning this place.
With Styles, she goes to the church and Kane takes her and face plants her into the book, so she has to see it, and it fucks her up because you see their eyes start bleeding like after they've seen what he shows them, and I think that's how the whole sickness as it is starts.
I was confused by her before that point, like when she decided to drive off and leave him. Was she already starting to get messed up in the head at that point? Because they were talking upstairs, like he seemed kind of good, I think. And then she starts like kissing him randomly. And then he's like, what are you doing? And then he walks downstairs and then they pan the camera at her. And she looks like she's starting to lose it. And then that's when she just dips off with the car. And then, like you said, then she reads the stuff and this and that. And then we obviously know she's full gone because she read. But she didn't read at that point. So I was confused of what's happening right now to make her kind of already make this switch.
And she had made comments when they were on the way there in the car about like, well, what if everything you knew was a lie? And there was just little Easter eggs that she dropped along the way that you're like, so was she a heel all along and just hadn't made the final turn or what? I was kind of still confused on that aspect of it, I guess, with her.
I'm still kind of confused. I feel like there's a lot of interpretations to where it goes and where her character eventually leads by the end of the movie. It's like, is she real? Was she ever real? Was she not real? Was she just written out of the story like Sutter, like he thinks Sutter Kane did? It's like, did Sutter Kane write her into the story, or does he write her out? Like it's like
those are the questions that are left at the end, and that's what I love about this story because like we don't end up with all the answers at the end.
No.
But the journey along the way is awesome. It's just it's wild because the whole time you're trying to figure out, wait, what's going on, like what is this? And I just love that
Godzilla
also and so another thing that's awesome is when they get to the church, that black church thing, and and he's actually reading from the book, and he remarks, he's like, you got me reading this like it's a pamphlet, like it's a
Like a guidebook pamphlet.
like a tourist guidebook thing.
Yeah.
And what he reads about the church is actually a verbatim from a Lovecraft story, The Haunter of the Dark.
Can I ask what exactly? So you guys were talking about it earlier. What is Lovecraft? Is that like a book series or
H.P. Lovecraft is like the grandfather of horror. Is like literary horror.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
I figured something along those lines, but yeah, I didn't.
You've heard of Cthulhu, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, so that was created by H.P. Lovecraft. The Necronomicon that was created by H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like ton of influence.
Interesting.
By him on horror, and Stephen King especially.
Wow.
But yeah, so I really liked that, and then we talked about this where they get to the front of the church, and then we see the dogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who let the dogs out? Sutter
Yep.
Kane, that's who.
Damn it, Kane. Damn it, Kane. By God, it's Kane. There's a wrestling reference. Damn it.
Sutter Kane?
Yeah, do you read Sutter Kane?
I love that. That's like everybody remembers that from this movie. Do you read Sutter Kane?
Next time
honestly, the more I think about this movie, I feel like I said, if it wasn't for the fact I have to rent it again, I'm like, I would probably rewatch it again soon. Just because I do think I would like it more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's on YouTube Movies for free. I didn't realize that. I'm like, because I paid like $3.99 to Amazon to rent it.
That must be new because I checked.
Yeah, I just looked on YouTube earlier. That's where I recorded.
You step it on YouTube and it's there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I just typed in the Mouth of Madness. I'm like, oh shit! Like I could have saved myself $3.99.
I need to start thinking about that more often. The only movies I do that for is I know Halloween 4 is on there for free because that one's almost never free anywhere else. It's never on any streaming networks or anything.
Shudder. It's on Shudder.
Shudder.
Okay. Which I do. Like
I don't know if I have Shudder or not.
I do a year thing. It's like $70 for the year. So like, I just do the year. I'm like, there's horror. There's so many Argento movies on there too, which I was like, ooh, nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have Shudder or not.
I used to.
That's one of the ones that I
know they have like a full HD version on YouTube. So anyone that needs to watch Halloween 4, it's on YouTube. That's one of the only. I think Halloween 5 is on there as well, but
4 and 5
channel,
are.
4 and 5 are new. So that's how I watch that every October or whatever I feel like watching it. I was like, it's been a good, all reliable for the last couple of years.
4 is like one of my favorites anyway. That's
it's shocking too that it's never on streaming because every year, like especially when October comes around, like someone will pick it up. Like usually, like Peacock will pick up like the newer ones, and then maybe the others will pick up like Paramount Plus will get some of them or whatever. But yeah, Halloween 4 or 5 never end up on anything every single time.
Shudder had those. They still have. Yep, they have them too. Because like I was the same way until I got Shudder. You find the one on YouTube, and it's like okay. So I finally bought a copy of it just on DVD, and then it's like I'm looking. It's like okay, it's on Shudder. All right. I didn't buy part 5. I'm like I'll never buy part 5. No. I used to like 5 when I was a kid, and now that I'm older, it's like oh crap, it's not the same, is it? You watch it, and it's like this movie's slow, and plotting, and just bad.
Like I said, I thought I always liked it. I think it was even my second or third favorite when I was a kid, just because when I was young, I was like, oh, it's the same thing, the same characters are in it, blah blah, and you're just. And I remember thinking the barn scene was cool, so I was like, that's all I would remember. And it's very nostalgic for me, that one over a lot of them. And then, like you said, now I see a lot of people crap on it. So I'm fighting nostalgia. And then also reality of it's not that good anymore. I'm like, I want to like it more because of my nostalgia for it, but then I watch it, I'm like, And like you said, it's kind of a snooze fest where I'm like, I don't feel like watching it. There's a amount of times where I try to watch it and I'll literally either stop paying attention or I'll just click off. I'm like, I'm watching something else.
And the obvious is they do Danielle Harris dirty in that movie.
Oh, they do a lot of people dirty. In that.
Loomis, I mean, yeah.
Rachel.
Rachel. Arguably the best final girl outside of Laurie Strode, and they're just like, we're gonna kill you off right now.
Yeah, and then to me, that's my least favorite mask by a lot. I really hate the mask in Halloween 5.
That one was a mess.
So
that was a mess.
I don't know, not much redeeming qualities outside of a hint of nostalgia for me.
Right. Unlike this one, this has really Mouth of Madness has rewatchability. Like this, like you said, it has rewatchability. And this is one like I'm probably gonna end up buying, like just a physical copy of it because I want to own this now.
Yeah.
But Trina, we were talking about her styles being in the church, and what up, Dunwich Manor, home of horror? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, we are talking about this. It is a Lovecraftian horror.
Inspired by was it In the Mountain of Madness?
At the Mountains of Madness.
At the Mountains of Madness. Yeah.
And there are other works as well. Like I said, the part where he's reading about the church is taken directly from The Haunter of the Dark. And there's other works as well cited in here. Anytime that he reads from the book is actually he's reading from it's a Lovecraft quote.
Okay.
And there's a clue. So when they're at the church, so as he's reading, he says some believe the old sanctuary, talking about the old church, exists somewhere trapped inside this evil edifice. Its primeval inhabitants were a murderous race of creatures whose vile existence contaminated time itself, affecting history. So that's a huge clue as to why it's a little bit hard to figure out the flow of time in this movie. And it's also a clue as to why people are changing as well. These evil, things are they're infecting the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was
the madness.
And that was neat because when we saw Sutter Kane and they panned around the back, he has one of these things like growing out of the back of him.
Yep.
It was a really cool reveal. And I had to look up the cinematography because in watching the beginning, I'm like, did Dean Cundy do cinematography? Because it looks very Cundy-esque from his many collaborations with John Carpenter. And it was not Dean Cundy. And I didn't get a chance. It was Gary B. Kibbe that did the cinematography. And he worked on Prince of Darkness, They Live, Mouth of Madness, Double Dragon, RoboCop 3 with Fred Decker of Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps fame. And then he did Village of the Damned, Escape from L.A., Vampires, Ghosts of Mars, and The Librarians.
Whoa, that's
pretty lot.
Like the resume.
Yeah,
Kibbe, that's just his filmography, and he's got he's got a Tales from the Crypt episode, King of the Road. He's got Soldier of Fortune, 5 episodes, 1 CSI, and then he's got Blood River, Two Fisted Tales, and Body Bags, which was Tobe Hooper and John Carpenter. They were TV movies. So an extensive filmography of work and a lot of collabs with Carpenter, kind of like Dean Cundy. So yeah, his fingerprint, Gary B. Kibbe's fingerprints are all over Carpenter's work. But the cinematography in this was great. That was one thing that because I'm really looking at that shit now. Like after diving into deep, a lot of these movies and dissecting stuff, it's like cinematography is so big to me now. And it's like, this movie was shot fucking beautifully. It was, it was shot beautifully. And it's such a hallmark of John Carpenter to have just amazing fucking camera going all the way back to Halloween with the steady cam shots and all that,
Yeah.
Yeah, this looked fantastic. When we got to like the conclusion of the movie, how he rips like basically reality.
Yeah.
Kane like he's ripping the page.
The
That was I was like, God damn. And when they showed like the portal, it was like, I think it was supposed to be like the bridge that Sam Neill had to run back through to like get back to reality with the manuscript. When they had that wide shot of him standing there, I think Styles was with him at that point, were they standing there in front of the deal? It looked like what the hell was that movie? Event Horizon. For just a split second. You know what I'm talking about, Trina?
I remember the movie, but I can't think of the shot that you're talking about.
When they're going down that long corridor in Event Horizon, that kind of like...
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It took me back to that shot. And again, another Sam Neill movie, and that's a famous gif of him going, you know, yeah. Oh, you just got Event Horizon 4K. Does it have the restored blood orgy scene from the hellscape? I need that footage. Like,
I've never seen this movie, but that sounds interesting.
Event Horizon's another one. Great cast. That was like 1995. Great.
Yeah,
movie.
I fell out of the loop. There's a few movie references this episode. I'm like, I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen that one. I'm like,
it's one to check out. It really is. Sam Neill's in it. Like I said, great role. Good cast. But yeah, so he goes back, he gets back to reality, and he shows up on the road in the same spot they hit the biker almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's the kid on the bike.
Yeah.
He runs into again, and he's
just trying to give him his paper.
Yep. Yeah, mister, you want a paper? Were you in an accident?
He's like, which way is the highway? That way.
Yeah.
And I like how he just like drops the script on the ground, the box that's holding the script, and we don't even see it. He just like drops it, and then he walks off.
Yeah. I in that moment, because I didn't know which way the movie was going, I was like, so he woke up, like you said, randomly in the middle of the road like that, and then he's like, screw this script, I'm leaving it behind. Not knowing it was going to get more and more weird and trippy. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, is that a good idea, leaving the script? What if someone else picks it up and starts reading it? Because I was thinking in my mind, you got to destroy that. You can't just leave that there. Then obviously, I think where did he go after that? He got on the bus and then he had more dream sequences where he's losing his mind. I think might have been another jump scare on that bus as well from his in and out of sleep. Started to be a little bit blur. I think so.
He was changing the colors. Kane was changing the colors. He's like, did I mention my favorite color is blue?
Oh yeah, never for blue, and he's like freaking losing his mind over that. And like I said, the color scheme of it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. So about that blue thing. So yeah, when he says, "Did I ever tell you my favorite color is blue?" So there's a thing about that. So yeah, we see the blue shift in the movie itself. And hey Sim, how's it going? And yeah, so we see that blue shift in the movie. And there's also another thing. Anytime that they like do a close-up on anyone's eyes, they're blue, and they're either blue, just regular blue, or they look weird, like they have weird blue contacts in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot to unpack in that scene. Like I said, I wish I start watching a couple nights ago. I wish I paid attention more last night, because there's scenes like that where I really want to dissect some of those things a lot more, because I think there's a lot of substance with a lot of the scenes there. Where, like, that's what I said. I feel like this movie, the more and more you watch it, you're going to see these details and how impactful certain decision makings that Carpenter made are. And then I think they're really just cool and unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very layered movie.
Yeah.
It's very fucking layered. And I like that. Like it is like these movies like this are a nice change of pace from your slashers, you know. It does. It's an exercise. It's an exercise for the mind, but it's still entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like when he goes back to the publisher, Charlton Heston's character, and he's I don't know who this woman is that you think I sent with you.
Yeah, that was crazy. When he started
Yeah.
saying that, that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm like, wait, was she real this whole time? Was
Yeah.
like, was that made up in his mind? Was he already so far gone from other sequences that led up? Because you remember, if you go back to the beginning of the movie, he was reading the books himself in the hotel or at his house, and that's where I said he had the dream where he saw the cop and blah blah. And then that's when he went to his boss or whatever that sent him on that road trip with the girl. So it's like, wait, was he making up the girl? Even though I do remember him talking to the girl before the guy sent him away with Linda, but at the same time, was his mind so messed up from reading that he thought in his head that Linda was on the drive with him the whole time? Or like we said, also the possibility of Sutter Kane wrote her out, and reality, what's real or not, is being very blurred. And that just reminded me. So the one quote that I thought was really good from the movie that I put in my Letterboxd review. I'll read the whole thing because I wouldn't be able to memorize it. It was from Linda in the car ride. I think what you basically touched on this, Trina, but this is like the full thing, where she says, on the way to that, the place we didn't know if it was real or not, a reality is just what we tell each other it is. Sane and insane could easily switch places. If the insane were to become the majority, you would find yourself locked in a padded cell, wondering what happened to the world. And that was like the foreshadowing of the entire movie, because we knew when she made that comment, I immediately wrote that one, or knew I had to write that one down later. Because I was like, well, the beginning of the movie, he's in the cell acting like he's crazy, or that's what you would think the first time watching it in the beginning. We're like, okay, what's this guy's deal? That we're seeing, a man who's saying has it together or whatever. And then like the concept of, like I said, reality is just what we tell each other. That's what, this whole concept between In the Mouth of Madness with Sutter Kane, and says sane and insane could easily switch places if the insane were to become the majority. So if everyone's going crazy and you're the only one that technically hasn't gone crazy by the old standards and everyone's gone nuts, I mean, then you're, like I said, that's why he possibly is the one that ended up in that padded room. We're like, oh, you've gone nuts. Everything's normal. Like all that. And to me, that concept of that is a very, very concept, because you worry about those type of things happening in real life as well. Because what if those type of things were to happen, right? Where everyone's just losing their mind. You're like, what do you mean? This isn't rational talk or whatever, and this and that. And it's like, yeah, that type of concept is just, it's very twisted. And it's like, if something were like that to happen and you're the one put in that situation, there's nothing you can do about it, because you could be completely right or things are normal. But if everyone around you has just lost their minds and they're all in on it together, and they single you out as the person that to make you look crazy when you're not, that's a scary place to be. And so when she made that quote, I'm like, oh, I was already hooked I was a lot more hooked into the rest of the movie when she made that comment. And that's obviously where the madness and what's the reality lines are being blurred eventually happen.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I love this movie so much. It really has you thinking a lot. It's that, and it's like all these other like subtleties in the movies, the like throwbacks to Lovecraft, the parallels to Stephen King, and the whole like questioning what is really going on in this movie. It's just awesome that and all of this is done in 95 minutes. It's amazing.
That was something we talked about months back on the last show I was on, where I was like, I miss when movies were short and sweet like that. Here they were the hour and a half to maybe hour 45 mark. You don't get that often at all anymore. And that's what I'm saying. This was a great movie, a very complex movie, a very intellectual, like makes you think and makes your brain work movie in an hour and 35 minutes, right? You could do all that in an hour 35 minutes. So we don't need a really great intellectual movie like most movies they try to make nowadays
Mhm.
be 2.5 hours. Clearly,
Yeah.
movies like this show we can make it a little bit more advanced, some not elevated, but like a thriller or a mind twist or whatever, and make it an hour and an hour and a half or hour 40 or whatever it may be, because that's why this movie is rewatchable. It's because also that aspect too. It's very short, so you can easily just throw it back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And yeah, the run times are big. We always talk about that. And
Yeah.
Godzillionaire, you're absolutely spot on. Concise run times and modest budgets are almost a lost art.
Yeah,
Yes.
budgets as well, for
Yeah.
sure.
And these old horror movies that were so successful, like not necessarily this one financially, but if you look at Halloween, for example, because Halloween was a huge financial windfall for Carpenter based upon a $500,000 budget.
Yeah, it was shoestring.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need a lot to do something spectacular if you know what you're doing. And John Carpenter everybody was young. They didn't really know what they were doing, and they still pulled it off. And you have these multi-billion-dollar global entertainment monopolies, and they come out with a Marvel, for example. You take a comic book movie, you make it 2 hours and 25 minutes, and it really only needed to be 90. The entire story you wanted to tell, you could have told in that, and other people have done it. And it's like, you don't need a 2 hour and 45 minute movie. I don't need
Not
it
all the
sitting
time,
on it. No.
That's why even like movies like, if you bring up Marvel, like some of my favorite Marvel movies before MCU would be like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yep.
If you look at those, it's longer, an hour and a half, this and that, but they're like just barely at the 2 hour mark. It's like an hour 58 to 2 hours, maybe with credits. And those are some of the best superhero movies of all time, and they're not pushing that 2.5 hour mark. That 2 hour mark for, like I said, a little bit more grand story, whatever. It's not a slasher, so maybe it needs to be a little longer, right? But even that even back then, they knew it didn't need to be 2.5. That once you get in that 2 hour, 15, 20, 30, and like I said, there's a lot of movies now like push 3 hours. A lot of people, I mean, I think it's a great movie, but the Batman that came out, 3 hour movie, and it's a slow burn movie, and it's like, it was a good movie, don't get me wrong, but like the rewatchability is so hard sometimes, because I love Batman, I'm a big Batman guy, but it's like a slow burn 3 hour movie. It's just like, it's killer, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's not as digestible as something with a shorter runtime that you're like, if I have an hour and 20 minutes, I can sit here and watch this movie.
Exactly.
And this one, the ending sequence to this is the best, where he wanders into the theater in his hospital gown,
cool.
And just melting down and laughing like hysterically. I was like, that is as good as the scene in Cape Fear with Robert De Niro.
Which one? Which scene?
Where he's cracking up in the theater and he runs Nick Nolte and his family out.
Yeah.
That to me, I was like, those are two scenes of just like insane people in theaters laughing. And I'm like, I'm comparing something. I have to make a GIF of Sam Neill from the end of this movie now. Like, that's going to be a GIF. But yeah, that's it was a fucking trippy ending to a mind fuck of a movie that was really enjoyable. It really was. Like, I say mind fuck in the best possible terms.
Yeah.
All I could think about too was leading into the final stretch of the movie. Like, how are they gonna end this movie? Because I was thinking, like, this, like you said, this movie was so crazy and like messing with your mind the whole time. I'm like, they gotta end with something good or impactful. And I was like, because otherwise it will really put a sour taste on the movie. And we had, the jail scene the jail, whatever, the padded room, and he breaks free and whatever. And I'm like, okay, where's this movie? Oh, that's where the other jump scare was. It was like he was walking out of the cell, and then there was like that creature that pops out. That was pretty good too, when he was walking away and everyone was like gone. And he's walking through, and I'm like, okay, everyone's in trouble. And I was like, where are they going to end this movie? Is he just end the cell? Is just whatever. Going down that street, like you said, peeling back, or he saw himself, because he mentioned earlier in the movie, it's like when the guy was like, "Oh, what if they don't read?" He's like, "There's a movie," and we find out the movie ends up being about his own life, and we see his face on the poster. Right before he goes in, he like looks at the poster, and you saw there's a nice little nugget on there as well, where it says by John Carpenter on that poster that he's about to go into, which I thought was really cool. And then like you said, he goes in there, sits down his popcorn, and I kind of knew, like when he was walking about, sit down, like, oh, is he about to watch himself? and he was, and he's sitting there, and he's watching himself on, the bus scene that he just experienced, at least in our viewing, and all this stuff, and he just sits there and he's hysterically laughing. John Neal or whatever, he kills it in that scene, like really sells the crazy on that, like he's enjoying it. He's like, and just ends with like his face laughing, and I'm like, and then cuts to the credits playing back the rock music from the very beginning of the movie, that hypes you back up again, and that was just a perfect way to close out that movie. And like I said, very 80s-esque to have like a crazy scene like that, and then boom, rock music in the credits. I'm like, the same one we got at the beginning. I'm like, oh, that's pretty fire.
Yeah, and I don't want to no sell when he was running through the portal back to reality, the Lovecraftian creatures, Trina, all chasing him. That reminded me of Hellraiser, the sequence in the corridor with the big ass demon chasing Kirsten.
Yeah.
That, I was like, the creatures' movements, they looked good. I thought they looked good. I just the look of them, I was completely down. I liked this movie. I enjoyed it.
It was a good time.
I did. I really enjoyed this one. What up, Alan? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. The engineer, yes, the engineer, J-Man. Thank you. But let's score this thing. Blake, we'll go ahead and let you start. You're the guest, brother.
All right. So I decided to give this one a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. I thought it was a good movie. There's parts of me, like I was saying earlier on in the show, probably like 30 times, that I could see me loving this movie a lot more in the future. I could see this potentially moving up to a 4.5 upon rewatch. But for right now, I'm not completely obsessed with it yet. So 4 out of 5 I feel comfortable with. I thought it was solid. I thought it was really cool, unique, and everything we talked about. It was a good time. It was a really trippy and interesting movie.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Trina?
Yeah. J-Man saying 10 out of 10. Yeah. I'm gonna, like, J-Man shills for his Giallo movies. I'm gonna shill for this one, and I'm doing 5 out of 5.
All right.
Yeah, I can't add anything that Trina or Blake hasn't already said to this. I enjoyed it. It's layered, it's complex, compact runtime, good cast, acting was good, effects are good, the writing is superb. It really is. The writing for this movie is superb. Nothing gets really, if you look at it, nothing gets muddled to where it's not comprehensible. You know what I mean? As far as plot goes and things like that, everything, like you said, it's not linear, Trina, but it's done correctly. It's not to where you're like, wait a minute, in like a wonky kind of way.
Yeah, it's like not in a bad way.
No. Everything was the way they mixed things up. It worked. It flowed. And yeah, Sam Neill fucking stole the show. The guy that played Sutter Kane was excellent too. Prochnow, Jurgen Prochnow.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said Sam Neill. I said John Neill about 4 minutes ago.
Well, John
Trent and
John
Sam
Trent.
Neill, yeah. Just in case anyone that watches this back, like, oh, he said the wrong name. I corrected myself.
You got it.
Yeah.
Self-correcting. No, I'm with Trina. I love John Carpenter's work. I'm gonna go 5 out of 5 on this one, and
wow.
I don't do that very often.
Wow, that's big because this is your first time watching it. So that means it made a really big impact off the.
It did.
Yeah.
And knowing that this is the denouement, the go home movie in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, and I've seen The Thing multiple times. Now I've got to see Prince of Darkness, which will be the next one. We're gonna work backwards. We're gonna go back to back to They Live. But yeah, we'll watch Prince of Darkness for this series, not for the show next week. Next week, folks, is April 1st. So we're gonna be doing April Fool's Day with Trina. Trina didn't even know who's coming on next week, but Tyler Wooten is joining us next week for the first time in a long time. It's been a long time. I finally got in touch with him. And so Tyler's coming back to join us for April Fools next week. That's our feature, which I haven't watched that one in years either. That's a goofy, fun kind of whodunit slasher.
I've never seen that one either.
What movie is it?
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
Really?
I've seen the cover of this one. Oh, it's on my watch list. I didn't even notice that. I put so much stuff on my watch list that I always forget. Yeah, it's on my watch list. Maybe I'll watch that for fun.
Yeah, from 1986.
Yeah.
So that one is that's a fun one. Like I said, I watched that about probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 years ago. April Fool's Day, I own it, of course. Of course you do, J-Man. Of course, J-Man's got it. He's got every damn movie, I swear. I'm jealous of his collection. I like Prince, but be prepared not to be too excited. Alice Cooper is in it, so that's cool. Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, Alice Cooper is in that vampire. What's the vampire movie we watched, Trina?
Suck.
That
was with
Iggy Pop was in that.
Yes. Yeah.
Iggy Pop was in that one. But so yeah, we got like I said, next Tuesday, April Fool's Day, we'll be watching that one. Tyler will be here with us. Thursday night here on the channel, we've got Micromania coming up. We'll be live streaming that starting 6:50 Eastern, bell time 7 p.m. for the Micromania tour at Dragon's Den Productions this Thursday night, West Branch, Michigan. If you're local, come check out the show. If not, you can watch it for free right here on the channel. Blake, what's coming up over on Far From Blake, sir?
All right, so I am officially have a lot more free time. So I have a bunch of projects that I really want to kickstart my channel with a lot of content coming forward. But I have more Cobra Kai content. If you are interested in Cobra Kai at all, definitely come subscribe so you can check that out. I have a 60 character ranking, so 60 plus. So if you like Cobra Kai, I talk about pretty much every character in there, but I'm also going to narrow it down to a top 10 character ranking as well. I'm just a straight up top 10 character ranking. I'm going to have season rankings. I'm going to have my top 10 favorite episodes of Cobra Kai. I have a bunch of Cobra Kai stuff cooking up. Also, with superhero content, I talked a little while back with you guys. I did a horror icon Mount Rushmore. So you guys that love the horror icons, I have a Mount Rushmore who I believe is worthy of the top 4 horror icon Mount Rushmore. I am also doing that with superheroes. So right now I'm in the middle of editing a superhero Mount Rushmore. So any of that intrigues you guys, it's coming soon to the channel.
And there's his link right there for the channel. And you can click on that. Go subscribe. Do it right now. I swear to God, I will kill you all in your sleep if you don't. I'm just kidding, YouTube. I'm just fucking kidding. Relax.
If you didn't say just kidding, I was going to trust me. He'll do it.
Right. But there's the link for his latest video, which that one's doing really well. It's got like 225 views. So
yeah, it's starting to pick up the first little bit of hours. Oh, thank you, J-Man. Just got a notification for you for subscribing. Appreciate it, my guy.
Nice. Excellent. We like that. Get that subscribe. He's 16 away from 100 now. Come on, guys. Go on over there and subscribe. Let's get him over 100 here. Let's get him over that first milestone, as it were, into the triple digits, and then onward and upward. Excelsior. But Blake, thank you for joining us, bro. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to be with you guys. I'm glad we could finally chop it up again. Like I said, have a lot more free time. So hope we could keep this going. It's fun.
We'll schedule as soon as we go off air. We'll get you scheduled for Prince of Darkness. We'll figure that one out.
We'll figure it out.
Trina, what's coming up with Real Horror the rest of the week?
All right. Well, I just want to let Blake know I am subscribed to. You don't see the notification because I have my subscriptions private.
Yeah, I usually don't get notifications. That was fun. Okay. I just pulled out my phone, saw J-Man, but I got you. Right. I do the same thing.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, just wanted to make sure you knew that. But yeah, all right. On my channel, Real Horror, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Vinnieart here on YouTube. He and I are going to be reviewing season 3, episodes 1 and 2 of Hannibal. We've been loving that series, and that's been fun. And then the collectible passed on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and then Sunday on Vinny's channel. I think that's also 8 p.m. Eastern. We've been doing watch parties for Dexter, the original Dexter. So that's been fun as well. But that's about it for me. And this was a lot of fun. It was great streaming with you again, Blake. And of course, as always, with you, Etep.
Yes.
And yeah, it was awesome to be here.
Yeah, thank you everybody in the chat. Dragon Buddy, Alan from Grave Reviews, J-Man, and yes, J-Man, the answer to that question is yes, sir. I do need a loan of that movie. But Godzillionaire is here. Thank you to all our channel members, our Patreon backers. We appreciate you guys for keeping the lights on in the studio and everything else that you do. Thank you so much. We do have the Pete Daddy Dollar t-shirts available. I'm in the process of making a commercial for those, which I like my new logo so much. I'm getting it tattooed on my forearm, folks. I had it designed by Jared that runs Super Shogun Wrestling. It's emblazoned on my singlet now. It's of course money green. And yeah, we got that. So we had t-shirts available. They're $20. I got sizes small to 2X, big boy sizes. And I do ship. There's no intermediary. I print them and then I ship them directly to you, and they come with a trading card in them. So yeah, because in a handwritten letter saying thank you, because I appreciate it. So thank you, everybody. Super Shogun Wrestling's link is in the chat if you want to check out my work over there. Blake's link in the description, of course. Trina's is. And we appreciate you, gang. Thank you so much for being here for Tuesday Night TerrorVision. I am Pete from Wrestling with Horror. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. I will catch you on the next one. And remember, it is always better to burn out than fade away. Patreon.com/Wrestling with Horror 420.